The movers carried the last box out of the penthouse at exactly 2:17 p.m. By sunset, her husband walked through the front door, called her name twice, and realized his wife had known everything for almost 4 months. But the strange part was this: Nina never screamed, not once. No broken plates, no dramatic confrontation, no midnight crying on the kitchen floor. While her husband was secretly planning to leave her, Nina Cole was quietly building a life he could no longer touch, and by the time he understood what she had done, the marriage was already over in every way that mattered. My people, there is something dangerous about a quiet person who has finally stopped asking to be loved correctly. Stay with me, because this story is not about revenge, it is about preparation. And if you enjoy stories where wisdom moves silently before it strikes loudly, subscribe to Voice Unseen TV, where every story leaves a lesson behind. Now listen carefully, because some people don't leave when they are hot, some people leave when they are ready. Ninako was 35 years old and looked like the kind of woman life had been kind to. Soft-spoken, elegant, always composed. She ran a luxury branding agency from a glass office in Buckhead, Atlanta, designing high-end launch events for wealthy clients who loved aesthetics. Her husband, Marcus Cole, was 42, a senior financial consultant with expensive suits, expensive watches, and the kind of smile that made people trust him too quickly. Together, they looked perfect. On social media, they were the couple people reposted. Weekend winery trips, matching black outfits, birthday surprises, family portraits with their 6-year-old daughter, Ivy. But perfect things often crack quietly first. And for almost a year, something inside that marriage had been rotting in silence. Marcos stopped touching her casually, stopped asking how her day went, stopped laughing fully. His phone became a second skin, always face down, always near him. Nina noticed all of it, but like many intelligent women, she made the mistake of confusing patience with denial until the voice note. It happened on a Thursday evening in October. Marcos was in the shower upstairs. His phone buzzed on the kitchen island while Nina packed Ivy's lunch for school. Normally, she would never touch it, but the screen lit up again. A message from someone named Derek. Voice note. 0.47 seconds. And before she could stop herself, she pressed play. At first, she only heard traffic sounds, then Derek laughed. Bro, once the offshore transfer clears, file the divorce immediately. Don't wait around for Nina to notice the death situation. Silence. Then Marcus laughed too, not nervous laughter, relieved laughter, and then the sentence that changed her entire life. Trust me, Marcus said, by the time everything crashes, I'll already be gone. The voice note ended. Nina stood completely still. The refrigerator hummed behind her. Upstairs, the shower water continued running, and somewhere in the living room, cartoons played for Ivy, but inside Nina's chest, something old and trusting quietly died. Not because he wanted a divorce. No, marriages fail every day. What broke her was understanding that her husband was planning to leave her standing in the ruins of a financial collapse he created. The affair would hurt later, but this was betrayal with calculation. Nina replayed the message 3 times, then calmly placed the phone exactly where it had been. When Marcus came downstairs 10 minutes later, with a towel around his neck, Nina was helping Ivy with homework at the dining table. Marcus kissed the top of her head casually. You okay? He asked. Nina looked up and smiled gently. Just tired. And that was the moment the performance began. That night, Marcus slept peacefully beside a woman who no longer trusted a single word he said, but Nina did not cry. Instead, at 1:14 a.m., while her husband snored softly beside her, she opened her laptop and typed one word into a blank document. Prepare. Now let me tell you something important about Nina Cole. Nina grew up poor, not social media poor, not we struggled, but still vacationed poor, real poor. The kind where electricity disappearing for 3 days was normal. The kind where mothers stretched one meal into 2 with prayer and water. Her mother used to say something she never forgot. Never panic before you understand the full problem. So Nina did exactly that. She investigated, quietly, carefully. And what she discovered frightened her more than the divorce itself. Marcus was drowning. Credit card debt, hidden loans, late mortgage payments, borrowed investment money. Their penthouse wasn't fully owned. His luxury car was leased under a business arrangement already behind on payments. Even worse, Marcos had secretly borrowed against one of their joint investment portfolios. Nina sat in her office one afternoon, staring at spreadsheets that looked less like finances and more like slow bleeding. The wealth was fake, or at least fragile, and suddenly everything made sense. Marcos wasn't simply leaving the marriage, he was trying to escape before the collapse buried both of them. That realization changed Nina completely, because now she understood the timeline. He wasn't preparing emotionally, he was preparing legally, financially, strategically. So she became strategic too. But here's where the story becomes dangerous. Instead of growing distant, Nina became warmer, kinder, softer. Marcos never saw it coming. She started cooking his favorite meals again, started sitting beside him during movies, started reaching for his hand first. One evening, she even asked casually, "Do you think we should finally take that Italy trip next year?" Marcos looked genuinely surprised. "You still want that?" Nina smiled. "Of course." And while he relaxed into false security, she quietly rebuilt her entire life underneath him. She hired a forensic accountant, then an attorney named Evelyn Price. Sharp eyes, calm voice, no wasted words. Evelyn listened carefully while Nina explained everything. When Nina finished, the attorney leaned back slowly. "Your husband isn't planning an exit," she said quietly. "He's planning an escape." That sentence stayed in Nina's head for days. Together, they built a strategy, not revenge, protection. Nina separated her business legally from marital liability, transferred intellectual property ownership, secured private accounts, documented every suspicious transaction. I collected every statement, every receipt, every hidden transfer, and then came the affair. Oddly enough, Nina hadn't even been looking for it. She discovered it accidentally while reviewing cloud backups connected to Marcos's tablet. The woman's name was Celeste. Young, stylish, beautiful in the effortless way expensive people often are. The affair had lasted almost 2 years. There were hotel reservations, photos, private jokes. But one message made Nina stop breathing for a moment. Marcos had written, "Once the divorce is done, we can finally live openly. Nina won't fight me. She's too dependent." Too dependent. Nina stared at those words until they blurred. Then she calmly screenshot everything. That night, she still attended a charity dinner beside him, wearing silver earrings he once bought her during happier years. At the event, Marcos introduced her proudly to clients. "My wife built her company from nothing," he said. Nina smiled politely. The irony almost made her laugh, because while Marcos believed she depended on him, Nina's company had quietly become the only stable income left in their entire household. Weeks passed, then months. Nina became an actress inside her own marriage, and Marcos never noticed, because arrogance blinds people long before consequences arrive. Then came the final shift. A branding firm in Vancouver offered Nina a partnership position after seeing one of her luxury campaigns online. Remote first, full relocation later. Most people would call it coincidence. Nina called it timing. Within 3 weeks, Ivy was accepted into a private elementary school in Canada. Nina secured temporary residency paperwork. Her attorney finalized asset protection filings, and her business expansion was approved. Everything was aligning, and still, Marcos knew nothing. Then, one rainy Tuesday morning, he finally said the words, "Nina, we need to talk." He looked nervous, rehearsed, like a man standing inside a speech he had practiced many times. Nina folded the laundry quietly. "Okay." Marcos sat across from her. "I don't think this marriage is working anymore." There it was, the performance, the carefully arranged sadness, the fake regret. Marcos continued talking, but Nina barely heard him after that, because something unexpected happened inside her. Relief, not heartbreak, relief. When he finally stopped speaking, Marcos looked at her cautiously, waiting for an explosion. Instead, Nina asked softly, "Have you already decided?" Marcos hesitated. "Yes." Nina nodded slowly. Then she smiled gently. "Okay, just okay." Nothing terrified Marcos more than how calm she sounded. "I'll need about 2 weeks," Nina continued, "to organize things for Ivy." Marcos blinked. "That's it?" Nina folded another towel neatly. "I don't want to force someone to stay where they no longer want to be." Marcos actually looked guilty for a moment, but guilt without honesty is just self-pity wearing expensive clothes. He left for Chicago 4 days later for what Nina already knew was not entirely a business conference. And while he was gone, she finished everything. Movers arrived Thursday morning. By Friday, the joint accounts were legally frozen, the penthouse inventory was documented, Nina's business funds were secured, and Ivy's school transfer was finalized. Nina did not take everything. That didn't matter to her. She left Marcus his watches, his suits, his furniture, his precious whiskey collection. She wasn't trying to destroy him. She was simply refusing to drown beside him. Saturday night, Nina tucked Ivy into bed inside a temporary Vancouver apartment overlooking grey water and distant mountains. Are we staying here forever? Ivy asked sleepily. Nina kissed her forehead. I don't know yet. Does Daddy know where we are? Nina paused, then answered honestly. He will. Marcus returned Sunday evening. The penthouse was quiet, not empty, just hollow, like a place someone had emotionally moved out of long before physically leaving. He noticed it immediately. The warmth was gone. Life was gone. On the kitchen counter sat a single envelope. Inside, custody documents, financial disclosures, legal separation papers, evidence of concealed debt, evidence of the affair, and one handwritten note. Marcus, you were so focused on escaping the collapse that you never noticed who had been holding the structure together. I did not leave to punish you. I left because you already had. Nina. Marcus sat down slowly. For the first time in years, there was no performance left. No audience, no image, no control. Just silence. Then his phone rang. Celeste. Marcus answered immediately. But before he could speak, she said quietly, I heard about the death. Silence. Then, I think we both believe different versions of you. The line disconnected, and just like that, the fantasy disappeared too. 3 months later, Nina sat inside a quiet cafe in Vancouver while rain slid softly down the windows. Ivy was at school. A new client presentation waited open on her laptop. Outside, strangers walked quickly beneath umbrellas. Nobody there knew her history. Nobody knew the woman she used to be. And for the first time in years, Nina realized peace was strangely quiet. Her phone buzzed. A voicemail. Marcus's mother. Nina, please, I know things ended badly, but Ivy is still my granddaughter. Tell her I love her. Nina listened twice, then stared out at the rain for a long moment. Winning, she realized, did not erase grief. Sometimes survival still leaves bruises. She placed the phone down gently, opened her notebook, and wrote 3 simple words at the top of a clean white page. Begin again carefully, because some women don't live loudly. Some women live intelligently. And the most dangerous person in any collapsing relationship is usually the one who has already accepted the truth in silence.